जय गुरुजी। गुरुजी महाराज के चरणों में सादर प्रणाम। सारी जुड़ी संगत को भी प्यार भरी नमस्ते। With Guruji Maharaj's immense grace and blessings, we are reading his divine Granth, the Light of Divinity. And today, to continue receiving our blessings, we will be reading Satsang of Nikki Malhotra. Guruji gets my life back on track. The world had come crashing down for me. Everything was a blur. Life seemed bleak and unsteady. I didn't know where it would take me from here. I had lost my confidence, my interest in and zest for life, and forgotten what it would take to start off again on the same note, with the same fervor. Precious years of my life were just slipping away. I went through a terrible ordeal. A car accident of the severest kind left me on a lonesome road. Being in coma for 2 months, surviving on a heavy dose of steroids, heaps of medications, endless tests, innumerable incisions, glucose drips, and long physiotherapy visits. Life in a nutshell. I was a victim of ruptured carotid arteries, blood loss, weakness, and paralysis. Getting the right treatment 14 years ago for such a case was a task in itself. I did not see the face of my school for a year. My friends broke down and cried in front of me, and I did not see a mirror lest I be shocked. While I was going through this, the entry of the Almighty in the form of my Guruji turned the chapter of my life. I entered a world of bliss and happiness. I was showered with love and warmth from God Himself. He was standing in front of me, and His hands were stretched out in front of me, engulfing me in this protective fold, sheltering me from the world. Guruji has ever since held my hand and taken me higher and higher. Guruji opened my eyes to the world and bounced me back to my on my feet within no time. My mom and I were the first ones in the family to meet Guruji. That one visit changed our lives. The first step into Guruji's ashram in Jalandhar was as if we were stepping into heaven. Our first darshan of Guruji told us that we had met God. Guruji just put the whole story of our life in front of us, the past, the present, the minutest details that could only be known by a person concerned himself. He made us realize that He is the one who has come to earth to bless us all. We were only too dazed with the Almighty's presence in front of us. Day after day, Guruji kept blessing us. As Guruji directed, I buried the basket of medicines, never visited the doctor again, and never went through the operations I had to undergo. I surrendered to Guruji, and yes, I did return back to normal health and sailed out of the mental agony I was in. The doctors had pronounced a 4 to 5 year span of recovery. With my Guruji, it was just a question of about 2 months. So, 2 months after meeting Guruji, my recovery signaled itself. I went from completely bald to getting normal hair. My paralysis and weakness disappeared. My hearing returned to normal. The double vision went away. My hemoglobin climbed to 12 from 6. I began playing sports much against doctor's advice and excelled in my academic curriculum as I began doing well in my boards. What do you think this can be termed? Complete divine intervention after I completely surrendered to Him, my Guruji. The master plan for me. I moved out of this phase and entered the next phase of my life. Guruji had my career and education in mind. After dealing with the pain and horror of my accident, after making countless trips to numerous hospitals, I too wanted to make a difference to the world in my own way. I wanted to select a career that would give me an opportunity to lessen people's suffering and develop empathy. Guruji, however, had chalked out my future years well in advance, as she does for everyone. With Guruji's blessings and direction, I got a seat in a physiotherapy course in Bangalore without any formal preparation. I completed my course with ease and managed to get a seat in the prestigious Sir Gangaram Hospital in New Delhi for my internship too. I worked with the best orthopedician in India who was a former director of AIMS. With such a neat career in front of me, clearly Guruji had me close to him all the way through. Before I could think or plan out more for myself, Guruji gave me the green signal for pursuing my masters in physiotherapy. I did my masters in sports and orthopedics. I was sent for my masters with Guruji giving me the Adesh, that is command, to do so with only 3 days left for me to react. I followed his directions and found I was going absolutely in the right way. There was a time when my parents were not there with me and I was alone at home. I developed a boil on my hip, which worsened to the extent that it crippled me, and I found myself in bed, alone and bearing excruciating pain. There was not a thing that I could do. I held on to the belief that Guruji is always with me. Guruji Sangat, our closest family, visited me regularly. I would do satsang and the wound would heal. The infiltrates getting removed slowly. The doctors who had suggested an incision were stunned since the healing was happening in a miraculous way not known to them. Finding a soulmate. This was a topic that I would never go near and it would never cross my mind. I had so much to do, so much to achieve. But Guruji, my God, had my life all planned out for my good without my knowing about it. So at the tender age of 23, according to standards nowadays, Guruji gave me only a month's notice to get married. That deadline was stunning. From a point where I was not even thinking about such a major decision to getting married in just 30 days was a mountainous task. However, in the most amazing and astonishing manner, all things started falling in place, guided by Guruji's blessings. My family approved of the boy who happened to be known to me and was in many ways sent by Guruji to my world merely 20 days before we got married. Within this short time, the preparation for the wedding, which would require some 2-3 months, were completed and they were completed with ease. With Guruji's kripa, the wedding was a grand affair and every bit of it carried a distinct flavor of Guruji's blessing. Everyone who attended it was well admiring the ambience, the food, and the other aspects of the arrangement. As we got married, Guruji sent me a message through a Sangat member that we were meant to be together for life. What bigger gift can you get in life than this? When Guruji has blessed the biggest decision of your life, there is no worry. The wedding venue deserves a special mention as well. In Delhi, it is advisable to decide on and book a venue at least a month in advance, as availability is always a problem. In my case, the notice was short, but it never became an obstacle. The venue that was finalized, Ashoka Hotel, it's a top hotel in Delhi, was exactly the one which Guruji had told me about 12 years ago. At the age of 11 years, I had paid no attention to it, but those words put forward in a casual conversation just show Guruji's omniscience and his immaculate planning for his devotees. Further, I learned that even his apparently casual words carry an unfailing impact and thus are not to be taken lightly. My life is Guruji and always will be Guruji. I needed someone who would understand this always and be with me in this. I wanted a family who would be with me in this. Guruji made it possible. My sister in law, mother in law, my husband all believe in Guruji. This has made things simple for me. Thanks to Guruji. Guruji is constantly showering his blessings on my family. be it my husband and his profession, or be it keeping the peace in a family, be it my sister in law's life or my in laws. He knows it all and is constantly there with them. Getting our visas without going to the embassy, directing us on our property dealing, paving the way for my husband's profession, Guruji has never left our side and he never will. Taking care of my family. After the accident, my parents were a wreck, mentally and emotionally. Their lives was devastated. Their daughter had gone through a traumatic phase and they had seen it. My mother's life had come to a halt. Everything was now revolved around me and my condition. A woman of elegance and vivacity had now become emotionally torn. My Guruji pulled my parents out of their shell, gave them the push they so desperately needed, and showered their lives with bliss. My mother's aches and conditions to which she had submitted herself disappeared in no time. My father, an army officer, was in the thickest of situations and times. Fighting in Punjab or Srinagar, he would be out there in the battlefield to serve the nation, exposing himself to constant life threats. My mother would be worried no end here, but our Guruji would regularly assure her that everything would be fine. The reassurances would come in different ways, the form of Samdarshan or a dream or his heavenly aura. It was there all the way through, with mom as a reassuring force and with the dad as protector, safeguarding him from all the troubles. My young brother's heartfelt desire was to join the army. Guruji welcomed it with love and pride. Guruji also made his dream a reality. Getting through a medical round was not a piece of cake. He was rejected twice. Doctor diagnosed color blindness, which never disappeared or gets cured. Guruji had, however, assured us that my brother would get through, and so he did. The color blindness had just disappeared by the last medical round. Amazing, amazing. We had all come to visit Guruji in Delhi from Bikaner. We were slated to go back by 9 o'clock train in Bikaner, which would see us reach there by 8 a.m. However, we never think of leaving the mandir without Guruji's Adesh. We were sitting in front of Guruji, knowing he knows. However, time was running out. Guruji finally told us to leave by the 11 o'clock train, which would reach Bikaner by 10 a.m. We asked for our official vehicle at some station before Bikaner to save us some precious seconds. With all these preparations, we were speeding into Bikaner by 8 a.m. We were delighted to having made up so much lost time. In fact, we saw the 8 o'clock train chugging into Bikaner platform at only around 9 o'clock. It had been delayed on account of fog. How? Now we know why we were sitting with Guruji at that time. Guruji took care of my father's career and will always do so. Guruji is with Dad whenever he needs him. There are slips in one's career. Often it is deserving people who suffer the most. Also, with Dad being in the army, there was issues regarding postings and settling the family. On my dad's first visit to Guruji after the accident, Guruji stated everything that was running in Dad's mind at the time of the accident. He told me exactly how Dad had tried his level best to halt the accident. This was something that was innermost in my dad's mind, and only he knew. Guruji, our God, had to know since he was there with us even at that time when we hadn't met him in person. My dad was suffering from low back pain for many years, and he was finding it extremely difficult to sit down and get up from the ground. As we had gone to Guruji for graver problems in our lives, no one mentioned this trivial issue. Since God knows everything, Guruji called my dad one afternoon and said, "Come, uncle, I'll cure you of your spondylitis." He used a steel spoon from the kitchen and touched him on the either side of the spine. He then patted him and said, "You are cured of your backache." My dad has never since had the problem again. When Dad was a colonel in 94-95, with all the love possible, Guruji said, "I have made you a journal. However, One of the important courses the Army has for Colonel is the Higher Command or Long Defense Management course. Dad didn't nominated for either course, though he was an outstanding officer. He was then posted as Deputy Commander of a brigade in Leh. His brigade was moved to Kashmir for counter-insurgencies operation. His tenure there, by Guruji's grace, was so outstanding that it laid the perfect foundation for his promotion to Major General. He was now nominated for the National Defence College, the only brigadier to have gone through this without having done the LDMC course. His promotion was also miraculous because from the artillery, only three brigadiers have made it to the rank of Major General. Dad was posted in Jalandhar and his regiment got orders to move to Nasirabad. Guruji made a single statement: the family need not move anywhere for 6 months. Being only too human, we didn't pay much attention and used our own brain over God's and went forward for getting admissions to the schools there, only to find that the schools were depressing. We had to come back without any positive work being done. Soon after that, there was the heaviest rains Punjab had ever seen. My dad and his regiment were held back for 6 months. What do you call this? It's a miracle through and through. Amazing continued. One night we were driving back from Guruji's to our house in our new Indica when the car stalled due to a gear failure. Since none of us knew much about the car, Dad tried driving it till where it could go. When the gear stuck in third, requiring the speed to be maintained at least around 40 kilometers per hour, our destination was about 13 kilometers from where we were, and we started off with only Guruji's thought in our mind. And sure enough, we covered that 13 kilometers dotted with innumerable red lights and diversions and reached home without having to drop our speed below 40 kilometers even once. Just before reaching home, we came upon a herd of cows sitting on the road. At this point, Dad thought we had reached the dead end of our luck. But since we were traveling with Guruji's blessings, the most amazing thing happened. The cows just got up quickly, moved aside, and returned right after we drove past, reaching the land of the rising sun. The greatest day of my mom's life was when she had Guruji's darshan. For her, it remains the most unforgettable day. It so happened that after the car accident, our well wishers who used to go to Guruji would keep telling us to come to him. But my mother was not a religiously inclined person, so she never went. One fine day, one of her friends, a devotee, was on her way to Guruji in the early morning. This raised all kinds of thought in my mother's mind. Doesn't she have anything better to do? How can she leave her house and walk away like this early in the morning? How can she go and visit Babas in this age? But since the friend used to pester my mother to come with her, my mother thought she might as well get it over with that day. My mother went to Guruji knowing the two things her friend had told her. Number one, the need to have faith, and number two, he knows everything. With these two things in mind, Mom followed her friend to the land of rising sun. When she saw Guruji sitting on the throne, my mother saw a most loving person who didn't fall into the category of mortals. She gave a sigh of relief after a month of agony. My mother had been beckoned and found herself unburdening herself before him. That day was a magical and mystical day. This was since that day been no looking back. My dad's experiences on a ghost train. We used to come to Jalandhar and have Guruji's darshan and move back at night on Sunday to be present for work on Monday morning. Since the bus service at night was unavailable in Punjab in those days, we would generally catch a train, the last leaving at 2:30 at night. One day, while we were at Guruji, my father needed to be at the office at 8:30 morning in the next morning, but Guruji told us to keep sitting well past the time for the train and told us to leave at 3 a.m. with the rider that we must catch the train from Jalandhar Cantonment Station. The next train was due only at 4:15 a.m., which would be far too late for my father to reach office in time. However, he obeyed him and reached the cantonment station at 3:15 a.m. My father strolled into the station's inquiry window, which he fully expected to be shut at that time. It was open though, and when he asked about the person behind the counter if there was any train to Ambala before 4:15 a.m., one, the person told him, to his surprise, that a special train was waiting outside the station for a signal and would probably go towards Ambala. My father quickly called everyone in, and as we moved onto the platform, we did see a completely vacant train. We got a full compartment to ourselves. It was a bit frightening to be the only ones in the compartment and probably on board that train too. We latched both the doors of the compartment to ensure safety. As the trains rolled over, our anxiety rose further, as nothing about the train seemed usual, including the way it ran. On its way to Jalandhar to Ambala, although the journey instead of rolling on the tracks, we could feel that the train was floating in air as it cruised towards the destination. When we reached Ambala in a couple of hours, we breathed a sigh of relief. My father went up to station master to inquire about the train's whereabouts, but he knew nothing about it. Just imagine a station master not knowing where a train is heading. We thanked God and our journey continued. As we got out of the station and looked for a bus, we walked right into one. What good luck! We were in Chandigarh in another 40 minutes. Before we knew it, the driver decided not to take the bus to the main bus stand and instead drop off the passengers at a circle with not one of them making a fuss over it. This detour presented us with an opportunity to get down very close to my father's place. When my father approached the bus driver, he promised to drop us off at Chandi Mandir gate, and sure enough, we were there in another 15 minutes. Finally, when my father made a call to the transport cell for his vehicle, he expected a prompt response that would locate and bring his driver to him immediately, as he had no time to spare. To my father's surprise, the person who picked up the phone was his driver himself. With every step falling right, my father considered himself lucky and made it to the office well in time. However, normal things as we are, we thanked Guruji without making a big fuss of it. Next week, when we returned to Jalandhar, the first thing Guruji asked us was, "How did you find the ghost train?" That was when my father realized how our traveling time had been bare minimum that day. With Guruji's divine intervention, Guruji is great. This is my and my family's story in a nutshell. What did it require from our side? Only faith and surrender. Was it too much to ask for? God is there in front of us. Guruji is our God. It's time we realize it and recognize it for our own good. There is a miracle every minute, every second. I could go on and on. Everyone must come and enter the blissful world and receive the love of God. He is calling every one of us. What are we waiting for? Shukrana Guruji. With this, we've come to the end of today's reading. While reading, I must have made a lot of mistakes. So, with folded hands and bowed head, I seek forgiveness from Guruji Maharaj and all of you Sangaji. Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji.